and we're so excited to have you guys here. Tonight we have a super special guest. We have Kristina Delgado, and you're going to see Anita and Lori are with us. Woo! It's a party up in here. A little bit about Kristina. I want to give her as much time as she can give us. She's speaking about time management because basically she rocks, and this is why. She's a full-time attorney, and she's been working the business almost 5 years. And she worked it full-time with being an attorney for the first 3 years. And last year in May, she went full-time Beachbody. And I was just talking to Kristina, and I remember she told me one of the big reasons why she needed to stay at her job was to make sure that she was providing for their son DJ, because he has therapies that are necessary for his development and growth. And you know, that's always been, if you look at her page, that is one of her huge whys, is to be able to provide for DJ. And it just makes me so excited when she announced that she was able to quit her job and be home with her kids. Because that, for me, I was like, yeah, she's done it. She's rocked it out, and she's able to not only just provide those therapies, she's able to be at every event, you know, see the paintings that Marley makes. And I mean, I would buy one. She's such a gifted artist. So anyway, I can ramble on and on, but you guys just welcome Kristina, because I hope you have pen and paper, because she's going to tell us her biggest time management tips.
Thank you, guys. I have to start by saying what an honor it is to be asked to be on this call. Oh, I'm hearing my echo.
My hand.
Testing? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Thank you, Anita. Thank you again for asking me to be on this call. It's such an honor because, you know, the ladies that are running this push group are some of the coaches that I admire the most in the network. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, it's funny because time management, when I look back at my first 3 years as a coach, when I was still practicing law, still running a household, having 2 little kids at home, husband, all that good stuff, it seems like it was kind of a blur to me how I was able to accomplish all that I did with Beachbody with having so many responsibilities, including a full-time job. But I realized that I was doing certain things on a daily basis that I want to share with you tonight, because I understand I have been in your shoes. The majority of coaches in the network, I'm sure the majority of coaches on this call still have a job, and if not, you know, a paid job. Some of you are stay-at-home moms. Some of you have those responsibilities that you do have to dedicate a lot of your time to, in addition to your Beachbody business. So a little bit about me. I'm going to go quickly through that. I think you guys know that I was a practicing attorney. I was able to leave my job in May of last year, but I want to break down how I kind of ran my business for the first 3 years. I kind of still do it to this day, even though I'm, you know, working from home thanks to Beachbody. But I kept my business simple. So write that down. That's tip number 1, is I kept my business as simple as possible. The one thing that I cannot stress enough is that this is when you break down your day between all of your responsibilities, and if you aren't digging deep into your personal development, Beachbody, if you're not deeply rooted into your why, is that thing that you're going to put on the back burner when times get tough, when times get rough, when it rains and there's bad days. You're going to say, you know what, I'm going to set that aside. What I did in my business, so as to avoid those feelings of feeling overwhelmed when life happens, because it happens to everyone, is I kept my business as simple as possible. And I broke it down into 4 things. Number 1 is Success Club was always going to be a non-negotiable goal for me. Okay, that was number 1. So if I had one goal that I was going to execute on a monthly basis, it was going to be Success Club. Number 2, it's I had always have a recruiting mentality. I always knew that I needed to bring coaches into my business. Back in the Stone Ages, when I became a coach, in order to make Success Club, you needed to recruit at least 1 coach a month. So that was ingrained in me, and it still is today. Now, obviously, You want to bring in more coaches to your business than just one a month. Sometimes it's one, sometimes 10, sometimes more, whatever the case may be in your business. But that has always been part of my business. Number 1, Success Club. Number 2, a recruiting mentality. Number 3 is duplication. So part of my days were always dedicated to training my team. I knew that I needed to have coaches find success for themselves in order for not only me to help to hit my goals, but also for them to find success and then want to duplicate themselves. So I found time in my day to duplicate what I was doing in the business to those that either I brought into the business or in my downline. And then 4 is I stayed persistent in those efforts. Okay, so that's what I did. When you ask me, what did you do the first 3 years that got you from coach, discount coach, because I signed up for the discount, to the time where I retired, where I was a 10-star diamond? That's when I retired. That was my rank. It was those 4 things. I earned Success Club. I was always recruiting. I duplicated those efforts, and I stayed persistent. Now you're probably saying, I hear that all the time, and I totally get that. But when I look back at those 3 years, that's what I was doing. That's how I found success in my business, while also trying to manage my life, which was being a partner at a law firm. I kept it that simple. I didn't overcomplicate this business, because truthfully, this business is not complicated. When you are working a full-time job, you have to narrow it down to what is important to you. To me, it was making sure I was always helping my customers. That was my Success Club points. That's where I was getting those Success Club points, is helping people get transformations for themselves. Number 2, getting them onboarded and then helping them also achieve success through Success Club. And then persistency. Okay, so those are the 4 things, how I kept my business simple. Now let's break down what I was doing on a daily basis within the context of those 4 things. I sacrificed. Okay, let me say that again. I sacrificed. I hear it all the time. I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how you did it. I mean, I hear that all the time. Here's the thing, and Mother Teresa said it best. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, right? All of us. It is how you manage that time that causes you to develop the habits that you need to be successful, to fit in those 4 things that I talked to you about: Success Club, recruiting, duplication, and persistency. What did I do? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the type to sugarcoat anything. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning every single day. Is that extreme? Maybe to some of you it is. But I needed to drive an hour to work. I needed to work and concentrate as a lawyer. I had clients. I had responsibilities that I needed to take care of there. I had another hour on the way home, and then I had life, right? I had my husband. I had my kids. I had all these things. So I used that time between 4:30 and 5:30 to work my business. That's where I would post in my challenge groups. That's when I would get my workout in, believe it or not. And that's when I would do some motivational posts into my personally sponsored page or the Diesel Nation coach page. That's what I would do at that time. Then I would jump in the car, and instead of listening to the music or doing whatever, I was either listening to personal development, or I was actually I was doing calls with my coaches at that time, because guess what? Most of them were in the car too. So why not use that time wisely to get our businesses moving right, at the start of the day, which is when we were in traffic. And in Miami, you're always in traffic. So it was very easy to have a solid hour of time working my business, not on the computer and not on my phone. It was actually speaking to someone about the business, about the products, or whatever. So I would use my time wisely. During the day, some days it was easier, some days it wasn't to work my business during the day. But you better believe that I used my lunch hour to listen to National Wake Up Calls, to host more, GSR calls, to follow up on my challenge, make sure my social media posts were always up to date, that I was doing that on a constant basis, always having a social media presence. And then come home, same thing. Sacrifice. I would get the kids to bed, and I was doing this right here. I was hosting calls, doing Get Started Right calls. I was training my team at this time. I sacrificed, right? And it's hard. I know it's hard to wrap your head around, but in order for you to run a successful Beachbody business while also doing something else, whether it's being a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, or having a 9-to-5 job, the number one thing that you have to consider is, where can I sacrifice? Can I cut back on watching TV? Can I cut back on, this and that? You have to look at your day and say, where can I trim the fat? Where can I knock out some things that aren't making me money? That was huge for me. When I finally started getting into the volume and the income about this business, I started realizing, okay, where in my life can I trim the fat? Where could I, cut back on, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like Obsession. Now it's the Royals. I know, don't get me started. But it was like all these things that I knew that I could cut back on to do a task or a, something for my team that was going to earn me some dollar bills. So take a look at your schedule and see where you can trim the fat. Number 3 is, I would make sure at least 1 hour of that day, and I'm telling you, you don't need 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to run a successful Beachbody business. That's a big misconception. You need 1 solid hour. So I would make sure that 1 solid hour was dedicated to my business. And that meant you got to stay off of Facebook, you got to stay off of, reading the newspaper or watching the news or doing all these mindless things, and do a power hour. I'm not going to go into all of that. I am sure that has been part of this training, or maybe even this week in your training, is doing a power hour where you are focusing on a few things, keeping it simple, right? Adding people to your network, following up with your challengers, following up with your coaches, posting in your groups, hosting your sneak peeks and your coach opportunity calls, things that make you money, not things that cause you to be distracted. Okay, so just go back to recap a little bit. So what did I do? I kept things simple. I focused on Success Club, recruiting, duplication, and remaining persistent in the business. That's all. That's very, very critical. Then I used my time wisely. That's number 2. I trimmed the fat. And number 3, I sacrificed. So these are like the kind of the big topics that I want you guys to hone in on. Those are the things that kept me sane during this whole journey of trying to balance all these things in my life. And I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm telling you, it is the most worth it. So my call to action to you is to do those things, is to see where you can, fit in some solid time for your Beachbody business on a daily basis. Maybe it's at 4:30 in the morning when I was waking up. Maybe it's late at night. But you have to make sure that you're doing that, because this business is one that while it requires very little time to be successful, it requires time every single day. It can't be all done on a Saturday, and it can't all be done on a Sunday. It has to be done consistently Monday through Friday. And unfortunately, that's when we're the busiest, right? Most people stay off of social media on Sundays, for instance. So you got to be prepared Monday through Friday to really, do those simple tasks of adding to your network and following up and doing the work with your coaches. All right. And then this is the, that's like kind of the teacher part of me, the one that likes to motivate. That's really what I love to do. And looking back, I realized that I also had some other things that were powerful in my journey as a Beachbody coach. One of those things is having a vision. It's hard, for a coach that's, just trying to build to diamond, and is in that, the push and pull of that goal. I know it's a difficult goal. It's a decision that you make, but it is something that, has you're 100% focused on. But I want you to see past that goal. I want you to see past just diamond. I want you to see, what is it that your life, your perfect life, would look like because of this opportunity 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. I had that vision while I was working, while I was stressed out and angry and, getting pulled in every single which way direction and wanting to throw in the towel and give up and saying, you know what, it's not worth it. I had vision, and that kept me on track during all those times. I knew that if I stayed committed to this opportunity, that it was going to pay off. No matter the time, no matter all the, the ups and downs of this business, I knew one day it was going to pay off because I made a decision to be successful in this business. That's what you need to do. You need to make a decision, and not a decision to be successful in the short term, meaning get to diamond and then that's it. No, it's make a decision to be successful in the long term. And that long-term success requires a vision of the future. Knowing that in the future, I was going to be able to be home with my kids. I was going to be able to afford our insurance, which was my the thing that I could not retire because of my son and his autism. Knowing that we could be financially independent and not scared. Knowing all these things kept me going. So while you're saying to yourself, it's hard, Kristina, it's hard for me to do all these things and be a successful Beachbody coach, know that the short-term sacrifices that you are making now have long-term, concrete, deep-rooted, amazing benefits in the future. So while I sacrificed for 3 years and I woke up early, went to bed late, did team calls, felt some stress, because you will. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You will feel stress. You will feel sometimes like you're, just grasping, and and sometimes it even doesn't even feel fun at times. Know that there is that rainbow at the end. It is there for you. If you have made a decision to be successful, that is your future. So sacrifice now to make that your reality. Another thing I had was an evolving why. I started small. I wanted to wear a bikini, let's face it. I didn't want to do this business. I wanted the discount on Shakeology. And then it was, I want to pay my car. And then I wanted to have enough money in the bank account to pay all of our bills without ever having more month at the end of my money. I love that saying. That was huge for me. When even with a lawyer's salary, I still felt tight, that tightness in my chest every month. I never wanted to feel that again. So that became my why. Then my why was I need to be able to afford COBRA. If you know what COBRA is, it's when you leave your employer and you stay on their insurance plan, they charge you the premium plus like 2%. So speaking 100% honest, I needed to be able to not only cover all of our home expenses, but close to $2,500 in insurance only to keep my son on the plan that afforded him all the benefits that we get with him. I needed to hit that benchmark, and that was my why, and that was my driving force, and I did this all while working as a partner. I was named a partner at my firm during that year when I made the decision to go all in with that why and eventually leave my job. So I figured it out. I figured out how to be successful despite everything that was being thrown at me, and the stress and the trial. And I remember, and this is a story I wanted to share, which highlights that burning desire that I had to be successful despite anything that was coming or was going or whatever. Was I was given the opportunity to be in the 21-day fixed test group at a time when I was preparing for the biggest trial of my career. And I had to do that program to the T, and I don't know if you remember my journey back then, but I went, excuse the language, balls to the wall with the 21-day fix, because I felt like the success of that program rested on me. That's the pressure I put on myself. And I did this all the time when I was prepping for trial. I was getting up at 3 in the morning to prepare, doing my food, my workout, all these things. That's the kind of dedication that everyone should have in their business. That your results are so important that you will do something like that, to go all in, 100%, give it all you got. And just like if you would with a fitness program, it's like the same concept. You got to go all in with your business to be successful. Think of that time when you got the best results with a program that you did. P90X3, pump, combat, whatever. You got amazing results. What did you do on a daily basis? You were focused every day. You were on point every day with your nutrition. That is the kind of focus that is required for you to balance all this and be successful at it. Go all in. So I am looking at my notes, and I think I am done there. So just to recap, I talked to you about how I kept my business simple. I think that's huge because there's so many things that are being thrown at you, and I understand we have amazing training. You guys are getting all this amazing training, but the one thing that you don't want to do is stop. So to prevent you from stopping your forward progression, you got to dumb this down. And it really comes down to those 4 things I talked about. You make Success Club. You recruit. You have to always keep bringing new coaches into this business. You duplicate those 2 activities with your downline, Success Club and recruiting, and you stay persistent. When it comes to time management, you want to use your time wisely and trim the fat. You have to engage in a power hour every day. And lastly, you must be able to sacrifice in the short term to benefit your vision and your why in the long term. So I hope that was helpful. Is Lauren there? Are you there?
Okay, so I have notes, and I've been like typing furiously over in our Bring the Bling page, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and like quoting, and Mike is quoting, and yeah, because I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been in this business. I've been in almost 3 years. Kristina is someone I look up to immensely. Her and her sister Becky, I have asked to be adopted many times, and they graciously accepted. So I can be part of the Cuban connection, I think. But I still need to hear, keep it simple, stupid. Like, seriously, keep it simple, because you really can get pulled in so many different directions, and then you've lost sight of what was truly important. And then, you know, just all the things you said. I love your story. I love the heart of it. I love what it took to get there. And gosh, what an amazing analogy. Treat your business like a test group, like a fitness program, because I was in extreme, just like you were in the fix. And I mean, you followed that thing to a T, because they're going to use your results. And you're going to be everywhere. Same thing here. It's your business. It's your goals. It's your whys. And I love it. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add, but I'm just super excited and thankful that you took the time out to share with us and jazzed up.
Are you getting more sleep now, Kristina?
Say it again.
Are you getting more sleep now?
More sleep? Yes, I am. I get up. I go to bed around 10, and I wake up around 6:30.
I love, Kristina, when you talked about having like that vision and that belief, because I think that is so important. Can you hear me?
No, you have to repeat that.
Hold on, let me try to mute everybody else. Muting you.
No, you muted yourself. There you go.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Shut up, Lauren. When you put me on these calls, I have no idea how to run them. But I love how you talked about having that vision and that belief of where you're going to go with your life, because I really think that is the whole big part of it. You know, it's figuring out what you really want to achieve, and you don't really have to know how to get there. You know, if you're doing those simple vital behaviors every day and you have that vision, that's where your success is going to be made. And if you look at yourself or your sister or any of the coaches that are on right now, we don't have social media experience. We don't have business experience. You know, we don't have any kind of experience that would say you're going to be a top coach. But I think that we all had was a vision, and then we get up and really have that heart and that hustle to do it. Non-negotiable. This is what I'm going to do. So
I truly believe that this business, being successful is a decision that is made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One that you learn on your own, you do it on your own, you figure it out on your own. You're not relying on anyone. You're treating this like a business owner, not an employee. That you show up every day, you do this every day, you slap a smile on your face when even you don't want to do it. That you are there, that you're the leader. When someone complains about customer service, you're like, no, they're wonderful. This business really is about just taking the bull by the horns, learning it for yourself, figuring out when you could do it, and do it well. And that's it. You want to be successful, you can be successful. You just have to decide, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. And I think you really bring a good point, because you know what? You were a professional. You were a partner in a law firm. And I see this with my team, being that they're all healthcare professionals. It's like they have a decision. They could go back and they could easily do nursing or something that they went to school with and paid for a long time, right? But the difference is that you don't have freedom. And as a lawyer, you didn't have freedom. The hours were not yours. You could not be there with your kids. And that's the same thing I feel like with my particular team too, is that they went to school for a long time. They have very good jobs, but it's very restrictive when it comes to their hours. And there's no up, It's like you're told when you can take vacation, when you can have days off, what weekends you're working, what holidays. And I think it's easy sometimes for professionals to be able to say, well, I have this degree. I don't have to pursue my business anymore. But you're a prime example of somebody that said, no, I want the freedom. I want to be home with my kids, and this is why I'm going to do it. And
I'll say this. I've said it a few times on calls, so I want everybody to understand my story. I was that person that didn't want to leave my job. I defined myself by my job. I was a lawyer, and I was a female lawyer at that. I was the shit, just be honest. I was good at what I did, and that was not me. I wasn't going to leave for this Beachbody stuff. But I realized that this business has so much more value than that, not only in terms of finances or the material things that we get from the business and all that, the recognition, all that's good. This business, gave me so many amazing skills. Speaking skills, people skills. You don't learn that in school, and so when I embraced it, all of it, I was like, I'm going all in, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this my future, because it's almost like, I don't want to use the term, it's too good to be true, but it's like, man, if I could live my life and do this, helping people, empowering people, lifting them up, helping them save their life, and this is like the dream job. Why not give it everything that I possibly can? Fix what's broken. If something's not working, I'm gonna fix it. If I'm bad at social media, I'm gonna follow these girls down here that are so good at it, and I'm gonna fix that, and I'm gonna continuously be learning and not stay in a rut. And if I'm in a rut, I'm gonna get out of that rut, because, sorry, I'm going on, and I've had some wine, and it's just like, I made a decision. I made a decision to be successful. Anyone can be successful. I think if you were at Cancun and you saw all of us coaches working out with Shanti, you can't disagree with me that there is no cookie cutter successful coach. We come in every shape, color, size, sexual orientation. You name it, a coach fits that mold. And so you personally have to look in the mirror and say, is my why powerful enough? Is it strong enough to wake me up every morning earlier than everybody else? Do those things that other people won't do, that I'm gonna do, and is it strong enough to take me to where I want to go, to my vision? If it is, then you have everything that it takes to be successful.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And and I think too, you guys, just the community. How awesome is this community? Literally, I love these girls so much, and I've only been a coach for 27 months. And I've met the best people in Beachbody. I've never met better people in my whole entire life. And that in itself, just the community and being around such positive people, it's literally the dream job. And I just really hope that, every coach that's on this call really sees that it has everything that anybody would ever need for whatever dream and whatever why it is that you have. You know, we all come in all different, like you said, shapes and sizes, but what is it your passion? What is your vision? What is it going to fulfill? And with talking just to other leaders, you know, you're right. Your dream is going to evolve. It's going to change. And things that, you know, so when I started, here's an example. When I started, I'm like, I'm going to make enough money that I'm going to be able to donate a lot of money to pediatric cancer because it's near and dear to my heart. Well, last weekend when I was in Cancun, I was talking to Amy Silverman, and she's like, why don't you open up your own nonprofit? Why don't you have your own nonprofit that goes to pediatric cancer or whatever? And like the people in this community, they continue to challenge me to continue to dream bigger. And it's not like you have self-limiting beliefs and other things that I've been in. So really, really, really cool. So many awesome takeaways, honestly. Amazing. I'm so glad that you were able to jump on with us, and I miss you dearly. I cannot wait, and I'm coming down and going shopping at that boutique you guys go to. So mark my words, I'm coming.
Anytime. You're welcome anytime.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you guys have any questions for Kristina? You have the Q&A open, right?
I had the Q&A open, but we never talked about it, so I think we're good. If there are questions, we can handle them on the page.
Okay.
Because I think Kristina, like, covered it.
Oh. Thank you so much.
Enjoy your wine.
Woo! No, look.
I know, I saw it earlier. It's your glass.
Cheers. Yes, it's my glass.
Here's Wine Down Wednesday.
Oh, hey. We got the whole family. Thank you so much, Kristina.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Great night.